Hoskins, principal at J. Hayes Middle School. We're making this video today just to go over the options that we're going to have in January with in-person and remote instruction. We recognized as we were developing our plans that there's still just a lot of confusion about all the terms. When we're talking about in-person, remote, and NTI 2DL instruction, which are all options for a possible return to school in January with in-person instruction. But first, I want to try to make everyone clear on what the options are. In January, we could return to in-person instruction with some students receiving instruction remotely, the first two columns. In-person instruction is just as it would sound. Students will receive instruction daily at school and follow their normal school schedule as they would any other time before COVID happened. Students may also choose to learn remotely, and as you guys know, in November we did a survey and you had the option to sign up for in-person or remote if we come back to school in January. And those students would receive their instruction at home with a live instruction via Canvas with a live teacher, but they would also follow our 7-period day schedule, which is a little bit different than what we're doing now. What we're currently in is an NTI 2DL. This is where all students will receive instruction at home via Canvas, and they follow the abbreviated schedule that we've been following all semester, which is our current model, where Monday and Wednesday we have 3 classes, and on Tuesday, Thursday we have 3 classes. Friday we have an abbreviated schedule with all 7. So just to be clear, remote and in-person learning would happen at the same time. NTI 2DL, everyone is learning from home. So with remote learning, we did have 213 students choose that option. So when we do come back to in-person instruction at some point in the second semester, 213 of our students will be enrolled in remote learning. Now, in order to accommodate this, because as we said in November, we were very adamant that we wanted those students to receive live instruction with a teacher and not be left to their own devices. We wanted live instruction for our remote students. That required over 2,000 individual class changes in order to accommodate that, because we had to designate teachers in each grade level as our remote teachers. So for a portion of their day, they are teaching students at home in addition to teaching courses in the building. So that took a massive amount of schedule changes. Those are completed. And we are mailing letters home to everyone detailing those schedule changes. Just remember that each of the remote teachers will also teach classes with students present in the building today. They're not solely dedicated to doing remote because we didn't have enough. So they are teaching some remote classes to students at home, in addition to teaching some classes to students in person in the building. In addition, our remote students will take one Academy Prep, formerly exploratory class, which is art. That's the only one that we are offering remotely, unless they are enrolled in band and orchestra. And we're very fortunate enough that we have 2 band teachers and 2 orchestra teachers where we could accommodate that, where in our other courses we could not. If you are a remote learning student, you will follow our in-person bell schedule. You have to. For example, your social studies teacher may be teaching a remote section of their course from 9 to 10, but from 10 to 11 they have an in-person class. So you have to follow our bell schedule. Remote students, however, will only take 5 classes a day, the 4 core classes, language arts, math, science, and social studies, followed by an exploratory class, which would be art, band, or orchestra, unless you have a class that's required by an IEP, an individual education plan. So we do have some kids, unfortunately, that would have to take 6 classes. We don't have anyone that would be taking 7 remotely. But in order to do that, you would also have some study halls for some periods. So 2 of your class periods during the day would show as a study hall. For me personally, I'm also adamant that students are not on the computer for 7 or 8 hours a day. I don't think that's the best option for anyone. So we did feel very strongly about freeing up the schedule so you didn't have to do that. And just a reminder, there will not be a Canvas class for study hall. So you will not see that on your Canvas page, your Canvas homepage, you will not see a Canvas class for study hall if you're a remote learning student. For our in-person students, it's pretty much business as usual. You'll attend 7 classes a day. You eat lunch here. Of course, the big difference is we're going to require face masks throughout the day. It's also very important to know that social distancing will be almost impossible because of our size, the number of students that are here. But we will be wearing face masks throughout the day. Now, NTI 2DL, while we could return in person in January, as you know, COVID cases could dictate that we return to NTI 2DL, where everyone would be learning at home. This is a rapidly changing situation. So I made the decision that all schedule changes would begin on the first day of the second semester. There had been talk that we would not change schedules until we return to in-person. I honestly think that is disruptive to students, and I wanted everyone to begin the second semester with who their teacher would be for the entire semester, and that it not change on some random date in February or March. So schedule changes will take effect on the first day of the second semester. Again, this is for every student to have a fresh start in January, especially those that are going to have a schedule change due to the remote learning schedule we had to create. Going forward, we realize, folks, that this is not an ideal situation. Schedule changes are never ideal for anyone, but unfortunately we are in a situation where we have to do that. So due to the amount of schedule changes we had to make, as I said, it was over 2,000 individual classes changed for our students. We do anticipate errors, that we know there will be errors. There were no way that we could just capture them all. We tried very hard. But we do think there'll be errors. For example, you may get a schedule, you may have 2 language arts classes on it. If you run into a situation like that, you need to let us know. You need to contact your counselor or your grade level administrator. We can obviously make those, correct those errors before January when we return to instruction, whether it's in person or whether it is NTI 2DL. But please note that we cannot honor schedule change requests due to a teacher preference. We know you've developed relationships with your teachers, but in some cases those teachers are not available to teach you at that particular time period. We did the best we could to minimize the number of schedule changes, but unfortunately, we were backed into corner to make a lot more than we anticipated. So you may have a request that, hey, I really love teacher A and I want to stay in that person's class. We simply cannot accommodate that. So I apologize up front now for that. But the schedule, unfortunately, is what it is unless there's an error. An error being you have 2 of one class or you're missing a course, something of that nature will obviously change the schedule. That is all that I have for you guys. Again, we do appreciate your flexibility with this, and we look forward to seeing everyone in January. Thank you all.